Hello everyone, Jake Quest back at you again, giving God thanks for all that He's done, all that He's doing, and all that He will do. I shared a while back about a brief video I did where I was talking about God, while not being the author of confusion, He can use it to accomplish divine purposes. So God doesn't have to be the author of something to use it. That was pretty much the point I was trying to make. And so, folks have asked me a few questions relating to that point. And so, I would like to share a piece from a chapter of my book, Wounded Soldier. Published this book a while back. And the chapter is called In the Midst of Chaos. In the Midst of Chaos. There's a powerful story in this book that I shared from the Bible that captures what I was pretty much trying to say as it pertains to God using confusion. In the context of this passage, it's really talking about chaos. So when I'm talking about confusion, I'm really talking about chaos. Chaos, all right? So here it goes. Luke tells us in his account of the gospel of a chaotic situation that involved a paralyzed man. And this is found in Luke 5, verses 17 to 25. Jesus was teaching a congregation of people when some Pharisees and teachers of religious law were sitting nearby. They were hostile toward Jesus in part because they thought their religious institution was threatened by Jesus' ministry. The Pharisees and other religious leaders took every chance they had to interrupt and undermine the credibility of the teachings and miracles of Jesus. They attempted to create a chaotic environment wherever Jesus went in order to persuade the people that Jesus' ministry was illegitimate. The Pharisees were clueless about God's grand plan. God was using them as a means of creating an opportunity in a chaotic situation. They thought that they were on a mission to destroy Jesus, but God the Father had a plan to use their chaos as instruments to reveal His glory in a powerful way. Could it be that God allows chaos in our lives to use it as instruments of change, which in turn glorifies His name? The storms in our lives serve a greater purpose. In this context, we should put our lives on display for others to witness the power of God at work in our lives. So here is the story. There was a paralyzed man. His life was already chaotic and now is about to enter another chaotic situation. Some men carried him on a sleeping mat to where Jesus was teaching. They tried to take him inside to Jesus, but they couldn't reach him because of the crowd. In those days, houses were normally flat on top in that part of the world. So, the men decided to do something radical. They went up to the roof and took off some tiles. Then they lowered the sick man on his mat down into the crowd right in front of Jesus. Sometimes we have to do something radical, even in a chaotic situation, to accomplish a greater purpose. Can you imagine how that paralyzed man felt? He must have felt wounded, sad, confused, unloved, unwanted, unaffirmed, and without purpose. His perspective of life must have been bleak since he was in a hopeless situation for so long. He must have felt chaotic on the inside, and now, while seeking healing, he found himself in a chaotic situation on the outside. Life sometimes puts us in a place where we feel trapped between two bad situations. In some cases, we have turmoil on the inside, and then we must face turmoil on the outside. When Jesus saw their fate, he said to the paralyzed man, "Young man, your sins are forgiven." The efforts of the men who carried this paralyzed man were not futile. The internal and external chaos of that period of time did not prevent this man from seeing Jesus. However, That did not prevent the chaos from getting worse before coming to a full realization of what God desired to accomplish through his life. The Pharisees and religious teachers said to themselves, "Who does he think he is? That's blasphemy. Only God can forgive sins." They were perturbed and disturbed by Jesus forgiving sins, which would mean that he was God. Jesus knew what they were thinking and asked them, "Why do you question this in your hearts? Is it easier to say your sins are forgiven or stand up and walk? So I will prove to you that the Son of Man has the authority on earth to forgive sins." Jesus then turned to the paralyzed man and said, "Stand up, pick up your mat, and go home." God the Father had a greater purpose in mind, which was to prove to everyone that Jesus was God and that he had authority to forgive sins and to heal people. The paralyzed man was with his internal chaos, and the Pharisees and other religious leaders who created external chaos were all used as a setup for a supernatural move of God and a revelation as to who Jesus was. I'm going to read that again. The paralyzed man with his internal chaos and the Pharisees and other religious leaders who created external chaos were all used by God as a setup for a supernatural move and a revelation as to who Jesus was. God can use what we write off as unwanted chaos to accomplish his purposes in our lives and to reveal his power and who he is to everyone. See? To reveal. Luke tells us that that paralyzed man was healed immediately. As everyone watched, the man jumped up, picked up his mat, and went home praising God. Everyone was gripped with great wonder and awe, and they praised God, exclaiming, "We have seen amazing things today." It is amazing how God can use a chaotic situation to ultimately bring healing to someone and glory to his name. Could it be that the chaos in our lives serves as a divine setup to orchestrate the affairs of our lives to align with healing, deliverance, and restoration that God has prepared for us? The paralyzed man was dysfunctional for a long time, but God set him up for his healing and to display in full view of everyone. God can set us up by using our dysfunctions and wounds, both past and present, as instruments to heal our lives and reveal his glory to others. So as you can see, God used the entire scenario of that paralyzed man, the chaos he experienced inside, and the external chaos that the Pharisees and other religious leaders created to reveal his glory, to reveal that Jesus was and is the Son of God, to reveal that Jesus had power to heal and forgive. God can use chaos and confusion to bring forth his glory, to manifest his power. I hope you keep that in mind. One love.